What if I told you that I was experiencing pain? And as I described it to you, I mentioned that I was sweating, that my breathing was labored, that I felt tightness in my chest, and that my arms hurt. You hearing that would probably tell me to call 911 because that sounds like a heart attack or stroke. But what if I told you that I was experiencing those symptoms while in a gym, doing push-ups or the bench press? Well, that changes everything. What previously seemed like a serious or life-threatening issue now seems perfectly normal. And not only is it normal in that context, but it's desirable because you go to the gym looking to stress your body in order to make it stronger. Well, at a very difficult time in our family, I came across this idea in 1 Peter. Peter is writing this letter to a group of believers that are suffering and that are experiencing difficulty. And one thing that I found particularly interesting was that while he's clearly writing the letter to help them with their suffering, he doesn't start with their suffering. He opens the letter with the first verse, and it says, "Peter, an apostle of Jesus Christ, to the pilgrims of the dispersion in Pontus, Galatia, Cappadocia, Asia, and Bithynia." He opens the letter calling them pilgrims. And that immediately brought to mind for me Hebrews 13 and 14 that says, "For here we have no continuing city, but seek the one to come." What Peter does is that rather than focus on their difficulty, he elevates their view. He elevates their thinking. And he zooms out to give them context for their suffering. Matter of fact, later on in the chapter, he says, don't think it's strange that this is happening to you. Essentially saying, this is life. It's supposed to be hard. It's supposed to be challenging. That's how we grow. Something else that he says later on in verses 6 and 7 is that he explains how difficulty actually serves us. In verse 6 he says, "In this you greatly rejoice, though now for a little while, if need be, you have been grieved by various trials, that the genuineness of your faith, being more precious than gold that perishes, though it is tested by fire, may be found to praise, honor, and glory at the revelation of Jesus Christ." So in that verse, I see two things in the way that difficulty serves us. The first is that difficulty reveals what it is that you really believe. In times of trouble, where will you turn? Will we seek our peace in love and righteousness, which we find in Jesus Christ? Or will we turn to self-seeking and indulgence? The second thing is that for those of us whose hope is in Christ, God is using that difficulty to grow us and to polish us. So on that day that we have to give an account, we will do so to a response of praise, honor, and glory. So embrace the challenges, welcome adversity, and use your difficulty to grow.